Now, in Ukraine, the maximum fighting right now is being witnessed in eastern Ukraine, which was considered to be the rebel-held regions. This after Russian troops, in a form of de-escalation, had moved out from Kyiv, and they're focusing now on fully clearing out eastern Ukraine of Ukrainian presence. Geeta Mohan is there in the Donetsk region, and she's been filing a series of ground reports to tell you what's really happening now in the region and how Russian troops as well as Ukrainian troops are upping the ante.
Massive shelling, massive operation over here in Elyanka. You can see there smoke still billowing. This entire camp was attacked. It had a lot of tanks, armored vehicles, Ural trucks and artillery carrier vehicles as well has been attacked. So officers over here trying to now assess the situation. They're trying to retrieve all the armored vehicles, artillery carriers and tanks as soon as they can and save as many as they can. But if you see over here, the situation pretty bad. The forces have moved out of here and they're trying to retrieve as many as they can. This is also a base camp where captured Ukrainian tanks and armored vehicles were brought in and then were sent for repair and then to be reused. So a very important camp over here has come under Ukrainian attack. I'm being joined by Officer Ilya, who will explain what really happened over here and how are they trying to contain the Ukrainian forces.
Дальнейшие наши действия идти вперед и только вперед, не останавливаясь. Занимать непосредственно, возвращать непосредственно границы Донецкой Народной Республики. Как говорится, в свои земли.
So the only action he is planning now, he knows that we're gonna continue to push and taking back our grounds, which is must be under public control.
There was major shelling over here. Now, what is the sounds? What are they doing? Are they diffusing? Are they detonating? What are they doing?
Сейчас звуки хлопков происходят. Сейчас это что это происходит сейчас?
Это непосредственно это сейчас в данный момент происходят действия наступательного характера.
So, okay, let's wait a bit, okay? So the thing is, you're asking about what is happening here, but it's not the same you wanna ask now at the moment. So they do other questions or.
Okay, so ask him how many Ukrainian soldiers were they? This was his force, his team. How many Ukrainian soldiers did his team capture?
Есть у вас вообще за время операции были украинские пленные у вас?
Да, были много десятков, потому что наш полк уже порядка 17 населенных пунктов, это не считая те, которые мы прошли, 17 населенных пунктов мы взяли боями.
So they took around 17 villages and small.
Надо прекращать.
Okay, let's stop it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
नेक्स्ट की तरफ जा रहे हैं और कुछ अभी भी यहाँ पर हैं जो अपना घर छोड़ के नहीं जाना चाहते। वोल्वो नाका में गीता मोहन आज तक।
We're here in Volvo Naka, a city absolutely destroyed. Irina is a resident. Irina, tell us your experience of what really happened over here. You're living over here 24th of Feb.
From 24 to 10, 12 of March. It was very horrible. What else? A lot of жертвы.
Victims.
A lot of victims, childs, old people, young people.
Lost their lives. How many people left Volvo Naka after the attacks? Did they leave the city?
Some lived, but returned, partly returned, and I think now from 5 to 10 thousands.
People are back?
Yes.
Why? The city is destroyed. There is no life right now in the city. Why are you returning?
Because it's my home. I had here work. I had my house, but some partly destroyed, and I think.
You want to rebuild it again, I guess.
But no, so soon as we want.
Okay. Irina, we know that this city, many consider part of Donetsk. Ukraine considers part of Ukraine. But right now, it is under the Russian control and control of Donetsk. What is your opinion of what has happened and what's the situation on the ground? Right behind you is what you call Red Square. The Red Square comes from Russia. So, destroyed. So, explain what was the leanings over here of people? How did they think?
I can say only about my opinion.
Yes, please give your opinion.
My thoughts. My thoughts, course of Russian is absolutely right. Yes, for me it's very painful because my town is destroyed absolutely. But Ukrainian government I don't like. I didn't like from 2014.
Did you suffer a lot in 2014 also? Did Volvo Naka?
Yeah.
Major evacuation operation being undertaken over here in Volvo Naka. The people over here will be evacuated to camps in Dokuchayevsk, which is a city not very far from here, only to ensure that they're in a safe place, have food, have shelter till the time the city in all probability is reconstructed. So there is a process in place. People's names are put on a list, and those whose names are on the list are taken by buses. This is one such bus, but there are many buses that ply from Volvo Naka to Dokuchayevsk, and a lot of youngsters also leaving. They have not much to do because the city is absolutely destructed. But yes, there are people who are not willing to go. They want to stay over here and start rebuilding, reconstructing. We see a lot of cleaning that also is happening in the streets. And there was a major movement of tanks and armored vehicles of the Russian and Donetsk forces from Volvo Naka to someplace else. So there's a lot of movement of security forces as also evacuation of civilians and citizens over here in Volvo Naka. With it, a destroyed city that requires humanitarian aid and food. The queue that you see over here are of people of Volvo Naka who have queued up to receive their daily bread. This is a van that has come to distribute bread to the people of Volvo Naka. There are various other vans that come with other food items, but food is scarce. There is no gas and electricity in Volvo Naka, and water also becoming rather scarce in the town. So they're using it with really economically. Economic usage of water, food in very little supply, so they're trying to be very, very careful in how they use their food supplies, and administration trying to ensure that at least there's some help that is provided to the people of Volvo Naka who have decided to stay on and not leave the town. So this is the first day we have arrived, so have the people from Donetsk. Food for Life is now going to provide food every day. But how difficult was it? If you could ask this gentleman over here, how difficult was it for the days when this food was not being provided?
Как тяжело было вот без помощи, без...
Тяжело очень было, очень.
It was very hard, he said.
How are they managing food then?
Как вы справлялись? Откуда брали еду?
Ну, запасы, которые бы оставались, вот, те запасы и ели.
So they used supplies they had and share it between each other.
А сейчас, которая привозит, ну, еду, вот, питаемся ей, потому что больше запасов нет.
They now out of supplies, so they can eat only the things can be brought in by organizations, by help.
Okay.
Пытаемся работать, вот, зарплаты пока нету. Проработали уже почти месяц, зарплаты нету.
So people came to their work again and they're waiting for salary now.
What's your name?
Дима.
Thank you, Dima. So, food being supplied over here. People are coming to get their food. People have run short of food supplies. That's why they're waiting over here to get whatever they can. The irony of the conflict today. What you see behind me is called Red Square, taken after the Red Square in Moscow in Russia. Many people over here are still pro-Russia despite the destruction that their city has witnessed. And unfortunately, this Red Square has also fallen victim to the latest conflict. But the people over here say that in 2014-2015, they consider themselves part of Donetsk. And once it was taken over by Ukraine in the 2014-2015 conflict, the statue of Lenin was taken down on the other side. And today we see that the Red Square also no longer stands. So the situation over here, quite bad, but the conflict is also within of people who are living in Volvo Naka, who are pro-Russia or pro-Ukraine, and the ones who are pro-Russia are sad about the city being destroyed, but not sad about not being under Ukrainian control anymore. When did this food start coming to the city?
From 2 weeks ago, maybe even earlier, I don't remember.
Are you a student?
Yeah. Student from Kharkiv University, Kharkiv National University, HP.
Oh wow! So when they announced the operation, did you then immediately come to your home to Volvo Naka?
We have distant learning, and I was in Volvo. So when the operation starts, I was in Volvo.
You were in Volvo Naka. Otherwise, you're a student in Kharkiv.
Yeah. I'm from Volvo, but learn at Kharkiv. Yeah.
Today, why are you still here? What do you want to do? Do you want to rebuild the city? What is it that you want to do?
Here, I don't have a place where I can live, where I can go. I don't know, because I must learn now, but in Kharkiv this difficult situation too, and I don't know where I could go.
Your entire family is here. Is your house destroyed or is it still there?
Still there, but my entire family almost here. Only one is left to his family.
You see destruction everywhere. Are you angry that your city is destroyed?
That's hard to explain, but it's war. It can be rebuilt from. It took years, maybe, but it will be rebuilt. I hope so.
Почти с того света вытянули. Спасибо людям в белых халатах. Низкие поклоны. С Докучаевска. Очень благодарю. Очень.
Her husband was evacuated to Dokuchayevsk and he was saved by doctors there. So she's saying big thanks from her to doctors who saved his husband's life. She wants to find him because she did not have connection.
Is she alone here?
Вы сейчас здесь одна?
Нет, я сейчас с дочкой. У нее семья, разбомбленный дом, она у меня пока находится.
Her daughter house was destroyed, and now she lives with the daughter in her place because her house is okay.
The extent of damage over here shows what really happened in Volvo Naka. This is a BMP-2 destroyed, homes bombed, shelling marks on the walls. To take Volvo Naka, it took a lot of fight between the Ukrainian forces and the Russian forces. Homes over there, school, absolutely destroyed, bombed. This again is a city that bears a deserted look, but there are still a lot of people who are not going to leave the city of Volvo Naka. They're determined to stay here to rebuild the city. Many others who have no place to go. And then there are those who have already left Volvo Naka. With video journalist Satya Rautre in Volvo Naka, Geeta Mohan for India Today.
Welcome back. You're watching India Today, and we've been getting you all the updates on the Ukraine war. Now, 2 days ago, we here at India Today got you extensive ground reports from Bucha, which showed horrifying images of a massacre. Over 300 civilians reportedly were killed. Ukraine has said that this is genocide by Russia. Moscow, of course, has maintained that this is a fake attack staged by Ukraine. The issue, however, has also led to global outrage and condemnations. Ukraine brought this up in the UNSC, demanding tougher action against Russia, a statement that was also backed by many countries, including the United Kingdom.
Streets strewn with corpses. Bodies buried in shallow graves. Burned bodies left in the open. The grisly images of battered Bucha have sparked global outrage. Ukraine has raised the Russian brutality in Bucha at the United Nations Security Council. Kyiv has urged the UN to strip Russia of its veto power.
The UN system must be reformed immediately so that the right of veto will not become the right of a death, so that there is a fair representation of all world regions in the Security Council.
Without naming Russia, India condemned the civilian killings in Bucha and called for an independent probe.
We unequivocally condemn these killings and support the call for an independent investigation.
Moscow is facing global revulsion and accusations of war crimes after the Russian pullout from the outskirts of Kyiv revealed horrors inflicted on the civilian population. The UK has urged G7 to ban Russian ships and set a timetable for oil and gas exit.
On Thursday, I will be urging our NATO and G7 partners to go further in sanctions by joining us in banning Russian ships from our ports, cracking down on more Russian banks, going after industries that are filling Putin's war chest, like gold, and agreeing a clear timetable to eliminate imports of Russian oil, coal and gas.
Germany, France and Spain have expelled dozens of Russian diplomats following the Bucha killings.
I announced that this morning we have decided to expel Russian diplomats and staff from the Russian embassy in Spain, who represent a threat to the interest and security of our country.
The United States is seeking to expel Russia from the UN Human Rights Council.
Yes, the president does not believe, he believes it's ludicrous for Russia to be a member of the Human Rights Council. And certainly the ambassador spoke to this today, and while she was on her overseas trip, and she will continue to make the case in her role when she returns to New York.
Russia has rejected all the charges. Kremlin claims Bucha is a monstrous forgery aimed at maligning Russia.
Российской стороны в адрес российских военных.
The entire course of events, a huge amount of data, facts and other parameters do clearly witness that this is a forgery conducted to try and smear the Russian army. It will not work.
Russia is facing other grave charges too. The UN has accused Russia of using cluster bombs in Ukraine.
OHCHR has received credible allegations that Russian forces have used cluster munitions in populated areas at least 24 times.
Cluster munitions pose an immediate threat to civilians during a conflict. Such bombs randomly scatter sub-munitions or bomblets over a wide area. The Convention on Cluster Munitions is an international treaty that prohibits all use, transfer, production and stockpiling of cluster bombs. World leaders are calling for tougher sanctions and accountability for alleged Russian war crimes in Bucha. Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, in the beginning days of this invasion by Russia into Ukraine, they immediately captured the Hostomel airport, strategically very important because it was located close to Kiev. Now, not just did they destroy and decimate the airbase, but also the world's largest aircraft, the Mriya, which means dream in Ukrainian. Gaurav Samant visited this airbase, which has now been retaken by Ukrainian troops. There's a Ukrainian flag also flying at this particular airport. He shows us what's left now of Mriya and of the airbase.
Over 40 days of war, and this is what remains of the Hostomel airbase. Hostomel was home to AN-225 Mriya, the largest aircraft in the world. Ukraine's aviation pride has now been reduced to a mangled mass of metal. It's clear the world's largest commercial plane, the Antonov AN-225, will never fly again.
The AN-225 Mriya, the world's largest strategic airlift aircraft, here destroyed in front of us. We are at the Hostomel airbase. This is the hangar of Mriya, which has unfortunately become its grave. A number of bombs fell here, destroying Mriya, the strategic airlift aircraft of the Soviet era. Look at the 6 engines, 1, 2, 3 on one side, 3 on the other. Now look at, just compare the size of this massive aircraft, small aircraft next to it, and then this massive aircraft Mriya here at the Antonov Air Base. Now, this from the Soviet era had a history. The largest plane to be built. It's a strategic airlift aircraft, the only one of its kind that flew, and it was an attack on this base.
Nicknamed Dream, Antonov AN-225 has turned into a nightmare for the world of aviation. Its fuselage is a charred and twisted gaping hole. Its gigantic wings are slumped to the ground, and one of its engines burned and destroyed.
I'll show you both the port and the starboard side, the right and the left side of this aircraft, and we'll walk along. The surface-to-air missile defense system parked very, very close. An attempt to save this aircraft. Perhaps they tried everything that they could to save this, but we are trying to get closer, though we've been warned against this. Shiv, we've been warned against this because there could be a lot of unexploded bombs or bomblets here even now. But just take a look. Once this aircraft had, big buses inside, big bogies were inside, and with the 6 huge engines. I mean, just Shiv, look at this engine. Unbelievable. Look at this powerful engine, now just destroyed. It's surreal, Shiv. It's unbelievable what's happened to this aircraft. A piece of history now.
The airfield is littered with destroyed Russian hardware, including trucks, tanks, armored personnel carriers and spent munitions.
We'll just walk around and show you the base. Now look at the number of rounds unexploded bombs and bombs that are lying here. For example, this bomb here. For example, all the ammunition that is lying here. The tanks, we'll just show you those tanks. The armored personal carriers and tanks that are lying here. Just walk around, Lalit. Just show them the place. Lalit. Those are some anti-aircraft guns that are put there that have been completely destroyed. And Shiv, this just gives you an idea of the kind of battles that have taken place to attack, defend, capture this place. That's a T-72 mangled remains of what was once a T-72 tank. That's a BMP-2. The army, the Ukrainian army is also now here. They're actually, flying drones also to know the kind of damage that has been caused to this place. You also have an S-300 system, or what remains of an S-300 system from its command post here to the missile tubes that are there, also destroyed in very precise Russian attack. This is the Antonov airfield, the main hangar. There are other aircraft inside there. That's the administrative building. Up there, as you can see, is the ATC. Lalit, that's the ATC, the air traffic controller. There, some other missile tubes and anti-aircraft guns are over on the horizon that side. But all around, just images of destruction, massive destruction caused to this place.
The Hostomel airfield, just outside the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv, was among the first strategic targets of the invasion of Ukraine. Russian Mi-8 utility helicopters launched airborne assault on the Hostomel airbase just days into the war. En route Hostomel, the scenes are not very different. The suburb of Irpin reveals the horrors of war.
What we want to show you is the destruction here on this bridge. This is a very crucial bridge that connects Kyiv to Hostomel. And look at how this bridge has been targeted. Look at how vehicles are now trying to cross this bridge. Whether it's trucks, tanks, armored personal carriers, all targeted, all destroyed in Hostomel. That you see, that's the road. This is River Irpin, as this signboard here tells you. Hostomel is one of the most critical areas as far as the Russians were concerned. They wanted to take over this airfield, and several special forces missions were launched. Several attacks took place on Hostomel. The aim was to capture Hostomel and then move forward to target Kyiv. But that mission did not succeed. And look at the destruction here of this bridge. This is how this bridge was targeted. This prevented the Russians from advancing forward towards Kyiv. Several such bridges were targeted by the Ukrainians themselves to ensure that the Russian forces do not move forward. Now, this is also the place where Mriya AN-225, that largest plane, was destroyed. India Today is the only team to be getting you ground reports from Hostomel. Look at this vehicle which is attempting to go. It's very risky. Some vehicles have gone. These are relief vehicles that are now entering Hostomel. Their aim is to be able to look after those who were trapped inside. And there are reports of death and destruction even here. Look at how this vehicle is trying to negotiate. The bridge is tilted. We walked across this bridge. It's completely tilted, and that vehicle is finding it very tough to cross this place.
In some areas, not a single home is left standing.
We are currently inside Hostomel, and you can look at the level of destruction in this place. It has to be seen to be believed. Look at this mall, look at this building. We are driving through Hostomel. As you see, every building shattered, every house completely shattered, cars on the road completely either in flames or shattered. Look at this. The level of bombing that took place in this area has to be seen to be believed. Look at this mall. It's destroyed. Look at these row houses, completely destroyed. Row houses, one after the other, shelled. All the cars outside completely destroyed in the shelling that took place. And Hostomel is one of the key areas that was targeted by the Russians. They wanted to control this, make this the staging camp, the launch pad for their operations inside Kyiv. And that is why this area was repeatedly targeted. India Today is now getting you exclusive reports from inside Hostomel, and we're traveling along with officials of the Ukraine army. They're also coming here for the first time themselves as they retake territory. What you also see strewn all along the roads here are bombs and some exploded, some unexploded ammunition, and also well, in some areas, bodies that have now been lifted. If I show camera person Lalit Mohan Joshi just shows you these houses this side. Look at the destruction on both sides of the road here in Hostomel.
Ukrainian forces have taken control of these key areas, claiming it as a significant victory over the Russians. But the scars of battle remain. With Gaurav Sawant in Hostomel, Bureau Report, India Today.
Another fallout of the war in the last 42 days in Ukraine is that many people have been forced to leave everything behind and flee to safety. Maushmi Singh gets you now a detailed report from Lviv in Ukraine, which has served essentially as a corridor for most of the citizens of Ukraine to transit from Lviv, then on to Poland.
It was billed the war of the unequals. But after more than 40 days, Ukraine is not just standing, they have even pushed back the Russian forces. Almost the entire world is rooting for the underdog, who's taking on mighty of Vladimir Putin's war machine. Ordinary citizens are volunteering to help the Ukrainians in their hour of need. India Today met two Italians in Lviv, the transit city of people escaping the war and heading towards Poland.
It is the city of lions. It is the city which is a city of refugees because everybody from the east fleeing to the western countries is in fact using this as a transit. And we have two heroes, ordinary people from across countries making it count here. How are you contributing to this entire humanitarian help for the Ukrainians?
Mission now for us is stop the war, and help the people under the bombs. Stop all the war.
And you'll go to any length for that. How long have you been doing this? For how many days you've been doing this, and you want to stop the war?
We are here since 1 week. We work in the Polish border.
Stand with the people of Ukraine.
Stand with the people against all the war, all the war.
Across the border, in the Polish city of Wrocław, an Indian restaurant is donating food packages to the refugees.
Here you can see that a dash of help from Indians in Wrocław, even as Poland has, reached out to the refugees who have come here from Ukraine. Wrocław has stood out as far as a shining example is concerned.
Every day, 50 to 100 food packages are supplied with the help of NGOs.
The Indians who are here are also pitching in. You can see the entire dishes that have been prepared, and this is for refugees who've come. This is Kartike Jori, who's been packing this for days at end. Every day, Kartike ji, किस तरह से आप लोग भी कहते हैं कि मदद का समुंदर की जरूरत है, बूंद-बूंद से सागर भरता है.
जी हाँ. Actually,
how do you manage everything every day? What all do you send?
Actually, there are a lot of Ukrainian people who are vegetarian and vegans, and they can't get the food proper here. That's why we are helping these families through NGOs, for local NGOs, and daily we have about 50 to 100 foods we are supplying to them.
Rice, vegetables, samosas, sweets. The menu covers the best of Indian food.
There you can see that it's being packed in various cartons, and what all is there for the menu, because their taste is quite different. What all do you say?
No, actually everyone likes our Indian food and Indian spices. We have here basmati rice, we have the mango salad, we have here some sabji, samosa and cheese balls, these things. All these are.
Indians preparing food packets are happy to be part of the huge relief operation.
रोज हम कभी कभी वेजिटेरियन देते हैं, वेजिटेरियन ज़्यादातर वेजिटेरियन देते हैं, कभी बटर पनीर हो गया, पालक पनीर हो गया, पनीर धनिया अदरकी ऐसे, रोटी हो गया, जैसे समोसे हो गए, समोसे चीज़ बॉल्स, ये लो। हमको खुशी होती है, बस हम हेल्प जो चाहे कर सकते हैं, थोड़ा जितना हो सकते हैं हमें।
Since the war began, over 4 million Ukrainians have become refugees. They need every bit of help they can get.
People who are working here, Indians from Uttarakhand to other parts of the country, pitching in their own masalas and flavors to ensure that people who've left their homes, fled their homes, don't feel deserted and left to fend for themselves. And here also Indians pitching in and doing their bit. With video journalist Parminder Sharma, this is Mosmi Singh in Wrocław for India Today.